Well, it's Friday. It's almost 70 degrees. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm in here in the shop. I had a video up of the Harbor Freight motorcycle lift. And this is the one I always say it looks like a forklift. Well, I took my video down, so I'm going to put this one back up. There's new guys coming up that's, interested in them and that, and it seemed to get a lot of hits. So what I want to talk about is when you first get it, right here on the hydraulic pump, there's a little rubber cap. You have to lay this down so this is facing up. Put hydraulic fluid in here when you first buy it. They recommend to check this, make sure it's filled up. So buy the smallest, and maybe if you know somebody that has hydraulic stuff, you can get just a little. You need very little. This hardly took any at all. And the pump handle is here. One thing about the pump handle, it's a slot here to keep it in. I set mine down easy because if you keep dropping it, it'll pull this rubber handle off and that tube will go down inside here. You have to watch because then you're going to have to fish it out. So what I actually did was I put a screwdriver up inside there, up in here, and I put super glue up in there to hold it real good. And I don't drop it straight in, I set it down. Here's your pin for locking it when you put it up. So to start with, I have it under the Suzuki C50, and you'll notice down here is the pipe. Well, that's really a heat shield on the pipe on the Suzuki C50. My Harley's the same way, and you'll notice back here, now I have this clear down. You want it down on the floor, so this is trial and error when you first get it. But if I go from that back, and you can see it's just about 8 inches. I have that much room in there because when you start lifting this, if you watch those forks down below, I call them forks, as you lift this, it's going outward towards the bike. Now I'm on the opposite side of the kickstand. Now it's just touching the bike. I'm starting to lift it. Okay, now I'm doing this with one hand so I can hold the camera. Now, when I lean the bike up straight, you can see how close that is to the pipe. So if I had it shoved way under, it would hit that shield there and mark it and put a dinge in it. So you have to have it back. Now I can lower it down and go in just a hair more, and so I could probably go 7 3/4 on that dimension across there when I first start. So I'm going to try to let it back down. Like I said, it's going towards kickstand because I'm using one hand. Let it clear down. It might have moved on me when I started. Yeah, see, it moved on me. So I'm going to go up to about a little less than 8 inches. And I'll do that off camera. I'll push this in till it's about 7 3/4 round in there. And then I'll start pumping it up. So I had it up. I had it around 8 inches back, and you can see now here how close that is in here. It is close, so that's good there. I don't want to go, and I have it up where the bike's just starting to lift. It's holding the bike level. Now, one thing about these hydraulics on this one especially, yours might be different, but I wouldn't trust it. I have it up starting to just lift the bike's sitting on it. Put the straps on. You get a set of straps on it, whether you want to use those or go to the ratchet straps, strap it down. Now, if something come up, you have 2 of these holes here. Once you put this clear up to put in, then you lower it on a safety pin. Then there's a hole down here. I'd have to go higher to get it. Now, we'll say I put the straps on this. Something comes up. I have to leave it. Do not leave it like that because this pump will bleed down. As it goes down, your bike's going to hit, or the weight's going to come off of it. This arm will go clear to the floor eventually. Now the bike has to go one way or the other, even if it's strapped down. I left it one time like that. I thought, well, it's good, for the night. I set it down on the wheels. It ain't going to go no place. It went down, bled down. The bike came towards me instead of the kickstand, and it hit the bike up on that one blue cover there, and I had to redo it. So So that's a warning on this. If you put it up, put the pin in it, and you have the straps on it, you can leave it overnight. But do not leave it like this without the pin. If you're going to let it down, set on the wheels, loosen the straps, let the jack clear down, put it over on the kickstand. That's a big warning on this, because that wheel, mine will, and it's ever since it's been new, that thing will bleed down over time. So you either have the bike on the floor, on the kickstand, or up on one of these levels with a pin in to leave it for a while when you're not there. I move it up and down, get it in place and everything, then I put the pin in to make sure it ain't going to go down. I have my bike up on the lift now, and I have the straps on. The back one on this side is always hard to find a place, but if you look underneath, you have the frame going back. The mufflers are hooked to it, and they're tubing and they have a hole in. I stick the one S-shaped hook into it to hold it, but it's just kind of hard to, you know, get them maneuvered right, but you got to make sure they're both on and tight. So now I pump the bike up, and as I said, down here you can see the first hole for the first level, but I'm going to go to the top one. I'm going to put this bike up as high as I can get it. If you've seen this on my video before, that's that one I took down, you can just ignore it. I'll pick it up when I get clear up there. It's going to take a little while. So I have it clear up. It's up past this top hole here. So I'm going to take my pin. I have to go up a little more. Now I had that up past there and it bled down some. So that's what I'm saying. You cannot trust this pump. I put it in. Now, take my handle out of there. Now I'm going to open this till it goes down on the pin. Open it real easy. There, it's on the pin. Now this bleeds down. It isn't going anyplace. It's going to stay right there. Now, if you've seen my videos, and a lot of you have, that's the important part there for the other side. So let me get around the other side and I'll show it. So as you can see, with these two forks like that and these two up here that lift the bike, that's why I call it a forklift. It looks like a forklift. Now as you can see, all your supports back there. This bike, it really bobs around. And you know, all that's holding it is what is welded, and these are leaning down. So what I did was I took a jack post from the basement, like you'd use in the basement, and I cut it down to size, took one plate, welded it on there. I welded the top on. This part's the part that screws up. There was two flats here so you could put a wrench on it. Well, I took the bolts that went through the pipe, welded them on, so now I can turn it up and down without going and getting a tool. And I welded this all up because I want to be able to pick it up with one hand. You know, if you got the top and all this separate, it's just a lot more to fool with. And for reference, if you're going to make one, I can give you a size here. Now that's about the bottom of the pipe up is 21 inches with this plate on. So the pipe, you want it about 20 3/4 inches. 20 3/4 inches long pipe. Put your plate on the bottom, the one on the top, and it'll work. And I screw that down in, and I put it here. Now, for a cross piece, you can get any type of heavy metal to put under here, but what I used was, I had a rip fence off of a table saw, and that's heavy made. It's really great. I put that hole in it to fit this. That, you know, usually that plate goes on the top. So I put this back under here. There. And then I just wind it up, put it back a little bit further. Make sure both ends are sticking out past. And I crank it up and take some of this weight off. And as you can see now, that is steady, that is strong. It'll bob back and forth a little bit, but you can see I'm pulling on the kickstand. It's not, the bike's not bobbing. And the Harley weighs more than this, and I can put the Harley on it, but I always put, as soon as I get it up, I put this jack under it. And then anytime, usually I leave the kickstand down, because anytime I'm putting it back down, when I get it down towards the ground, I'm holding the handlebar and releasing the pump. I don't want it to fall towards me, but if it falls this way, you got the kickstand to hold it if it comes this way. So that addition there, oh man, what a difference. A jack post, get a piece of metal across here. It could be angle iron, but it has to be heavy so it doesn't bend. Because, you know, there's a good bit of weight on that. And put Matthew there. He can sit on it. So, I'll tell you what. For, I think, like I said, I think it was $154 for this lift. And they don't even have them in the store. They used to always have one on display. Our Harbor Freight don't have it. You'd probably have to order it. They can get it. But what's nice about it, it all comes apart. You know, when you get it, it's apart. You can put it right in your car. You don't have to, like the table, you're going to have a truck or something to get it home, unless you get it shipped to your house. This, it's all apart. It was a big box. I just opened the box, and the guy even helped me put it in my car. You know, no problem at all. Brought it home, put it together, and I've been using it quite a while now, and it is great because it's high enough, and I get that stool, the Harbor Freight stool over there, and I use it when I'm here. I can clean. Right now, I'm going over it. I washed it, and I'm going over it with my Formula 11 that Ron told me about. I washed it good, and so I don't have to wax it. I'm just going over that with it, and it makes it beautiful. But I can get up under here and clean good, and like you have the table's nice, but if you have the table here, you can't really, you know, get under it and look at it and stuff. I can get down under here and look up under here if I want to see, you know, what's going on and work on it. But I love this lift for that price. One day I'm over there, they had one, the one knob was gone, and I think there was another little part missing off of it. They had it marked way down. I told the wife, I said, you know, it's in the clearance. Always look at their clearance. And I'm like, I ought to buy it, you know. Well, I got one. I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Here, then later, my nephew gets a bike, and he needs a lift. So that, man, as soon as he did, I ran over there, looked for it, it's gone. I said, oh, man. So he got the Harbor Freight one that goes right under the frame and goes up. And I ain't sure if he got straps with it. I don't know, but I know he has these straps, and we put straps on it on the bike. Man, I would never put anything up on a lift without strapping it down, you know, because if anything would happen, you get this up under there, just start picking a bike, put your straps on, tighten them up. I have one there and one here. It ain't going to go no place. Let's put it that way. Is your bike worth risking it? So just use the straps as soon as you get it up. Then you can take it on up, put the pin in, you're safe. You're going to take it down. Like I said, if you're going to leave it like this for days, it ain't going to hurt like this. And especially with this post under it, that jack post, it ain't going to hurt. But man, I didn't like that when I bring it up and you do something on the bike and that thing starts bobbing. I'm like, oh my God, I don't like that. But this here, man, what a difference. Works fantastic. Well worth every cent to get this and put it under. Works great. So there you can see my Harbor Freight lift, and you can see why I call it a forklift, because it looks like a forklift up there. And I have that at the highest setting and a pin in it, and that's where your bike would set. Let me get a measurement off of that. So the measurement from the floor to the top of this, it has rubber straps on, but from the floor up, it's almost 28 inches. So that's a nice height. That's nice to get under it and everything. And I'm done with my bike. I was cleaning on it, and Ron, I always show this at F11 by Top Coat. Top Coat Formula 11. They sell it on eBay, and he gave me this little bottle. You can order this and a bottle this size, this is awesome that I always talk about. But if you order the F11, you'll get a bottle like this and a little bottle like that. Well, he sent me his little bottle to try because it's a little pricey, but he gave me this quite a while back, and there's a third of it left. And I've used it all last year. I can't remember when he sent this to me, but I've been using that a long time. And my nephew and I were going to order more, and he said, well, he ordered a gallon, and he gave me a good bit because I always help him with his bike and everything. Well, I wasn't going to turn it down. And I mean, oh my, that'll last me so long. And instead of this bottle, if I had bought it and got this, I would put it from here into there, because this, it's going to put it on kind of wet. I like to mist it because I think that's enough with this. It's like a fine mist goes on it, and I use it. And you can see my bike. I spent maybe an hour and a half on it. But I mean, I went all over it with that. Put it up on a lift so I could get at it. And that Formula 11, I've done all parts of the bike underneath. I did the rims and stuff, went over the spokes real quick. I do the whole top of the bike, and then with a one little cloth, microfiber cloth. And I mean, this bag, it really does nice because this is like a flat, almost like a denim type. It doesn't get it smeary or anything. I put it on the seat. I went over the seat with it. It doesn't make it slippery or anything. You can use that for anything. I go all over the chrome and the top and everything, windshield and stuff with that. Then the cloth, it's not real wet, but you can feel it on there. So then I do the frame underneath and everything, all the real dirty parts with it. I don't even have to spray the cloth again. There's enough on there. And I mean, that stuff goes a long ways. And it's well worth it. I am so glad Ron put me onto that. And I was talking on another video about finding stuff along the road. So, a few days ago, I forgot to tell this. I went down this road right here and just got not very far. I seen something on the road. I pulled off. Well, it must have been around 2:30 or so, because my neighbor goes to work at 3, and he pulled over and said, "You okay?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I see something along the road." So I'll show it. I forgot about this. Here. This was laying along the road. And it's a thing for a table saw. But it's a real nice one. It has a rubber handle, and there is impressions on the side where you loosen it and move it. It has a ball spring that goes on here, and it really clicks in. It ain't like the ones, you know, you got to line it up and look at the number real close. You know, it might be a hair off. This is like a really good one. And I said, I couldn't believe it. You know, I just found something on the road, and then I start talking about it, and I find something more. So I got that, and then, let's see, I got it in my pocket. There was something else laying there, and it's this bolt. It's all aluminum. This piece is aluminum, and I thought it went with that thing I found, but it's not. And it has a top on it like you'd use, you know, one of those security bits. I don't know what in the world it was for, but it was laying right near it. So, you know, people must lose all that stuff off the truck. But like Matthew's talking about getting a bike, later on, I'll tell you what, I recommend that lift right there. I've had it quite a while, and they still have them. Like I said, they didn't have any over there on display. They always have their stuff displayed. They didn't have any displays. But, you know, man, it is worth it. And a lot of times I'll put a board across here, and we have corn burners, and I bring them out in the summer and clean them completely. When the oil gets high, we have oil heat, it gets high, I'll use corn to supplement it. You put a board across there, you can put that corn burner on there, and then you can work on it. There's trouble.